What is up, everybody, NC?
JC Ed.
We got a big epidemic in pro wrestling, and it's something that happens in every single major American promotion out there. And it's now even happening over in Mexican promotions. It's everywhere you look, even Japanese promotions. What do all of them have in common? They figure, hey, you know what? You know who would run the promotion better than anybody else? A wrestler. You know why? Because wrestlers know what wrestling is, because they were wrestlers and they have experience. Not a creative bone in their body most of the time, but hey, they got the experience, and that's what matters. Look at all the locker rooms they were in. Look at all the wrestlers that they mentored. And not to once mention the fact that they have never creatively wrote for a show, ever, but put them in a creative position. And we've seen this done over and over again. They did it with fucking Guido over in New Japan. They did it with Conan and Undertaker over in AAA. They're doing it over here in the States. Billy Corgan, huge match mark, NWA. Yep. Court Bauer, huge match mark. Used to work for WWE. Runs MLW like a Ring of Honor. Then you got Tony Khan. He's supposed to be the alternative now. Runs it like another fucking dork mark. Another IWC mark. Nothing but long banger matches. That's what you're going to see out of most of these promotions. And they all trickle down from the top. The very, very top. Which is a promotion like WWE. But then even then you got TNA. They got rid of Tommy Dreamer. They still have Hunter Johnson. And then they're looking to get Road Dogg. So what you're doing is you're basically ripping off a Band-Aid and stabbing a knife into the wound. That's what you're doing. Stupid.
That's all they're doing. And like I get the logic of like a veteran wrestler is going to know a lot about pro wrestling. They're going to have contacts with other wrestlers that you could potentially bring in. I get the logic. But the problem with it is that we've seen there is not one. Right now, there is not one. You cannot name one veteran wrestler booker that has an exciting product right now. You can't name one.
Well, do you even look at who TNA is now merging with or helping out now with OVW? Al Snow, dumb fucking Mark Booker.
Yep.
And then you go over to WWE hoping you would have some sort of mainstream appeal after Vince McMahon left. No, you get dumbass Mark Booker, Triple H, who, like all these veteran Booker wrestlers, wants to see wrestling in a wrestling ring and doesn't want to see stories, doesn't want to see people build up his characters. Doesn't want anybody being bigger than the business. But of course, his big ass fucking nose is all over every single poster, all over every single intro because he has to make himself the biggest star. Can't have anybody replacing his legacy. Exactly. That's what we deal with a man like Triple H. But it's when you see it in every single company out there, veteran Mark Bookers, and even with Billy Corgan, he was like backstage at WCW and ECW events back in the day. Who knows? Probably helping book. I know he helped book over in TNA back in 2015, 2014. So he was even booking back then. He's not a spring chicken.
No.
So that shows you that every single major American promoter, with the exception of maybe Vince Russo and Jeannie Buss, are complete fucking marks.
But what do Jeannie Buss and Vince Russo have in common?
They both have a tie-in with the casual market. They both know what it's like to have some sort of success on their side. Vince Russo, obvious with the Attitude Era. Jeannie Buss, she owns the Lakers. So they know how to make the right investments.
They're not mark veteran wrestlers that talk their way into these creative power positions. So like, and I defy anyone out there, like name me a veteran pro wrestler right now that is on a booking committee that has an exciting product right now.
None.
You can't name one.
Well, that's the thing, too, is like you want to even get excited when you hear about, former WWE writer Freddie Prinze Jr. is looking to start his own promotion. And then you hear all the Mark shit he has to say, and you're like, great, you're another one. What are they, fucking popping out of a cloning facility? It feels like every single celebrity out there is the dumbest, most low IQ liberal Mark. They all fit in. It's all hive mind.
It's all hive mind. It's really unfortunate. But like they're bad enough. The problem that I have is that like these veteran wrestlers is what they do is they will get in positions of power and they'll gatekeep. They'll keep out the real voices that can actually benefit the product. And we saw Jim Cornette try to do this in WWE. And it didn't work because they got desperate. Jim Cornette's fucking Mark booking ideas drove WWE almost into bankruptcy. They needed to bring in Vince Russo to turn the ship around.
What's the crazy thing, too, is we were actually watching some live Raw the other day from 1998 during one of our live reactions. So we're watching Raw from 1998 early, 1998. So before Vince really took over, Vince Russo. And you could see Cornette trying to get his shit over in there, and Vince McMahon be like, no, fuck that. Send out Stone Cold. Send him out. And Stone Cold would literally interrupt these stupid Cornette segments and just stun our people. It was great.
Good.
You could see the pushback already.
You could see the pushback, and like it needed to happen. Like that's the thing is that like it. They have these egos. All these veteran wrestlers that you can't tell them any differently. They've all got these egos. Who the fuck do they think? Who do they think they are? They're not a veteran wrestler like I am. Therefore, they don't even have a right to have an opinion. That's what drives me the most crazy. Is that you have a lot of creative people out there with a lot of great ideas that could really benefit pro wrestling, but you have these veteran pro wrestlers that have worked their way into these top positions of power, and they just block out all the voices that can help. And all they do is they hire their buddies.
And they all say the same shit.
Yeah.
Have you ever taken a bump? Then shut the fuck up. Every one of them.
And it's such a shame. It really is. And we could look at TNA, as we mentioned, with Hunter Johnson. They just fired Tommy Dreamer. But you got Hunter Johnson, another dumbass veteran wrestler. They're probably going to be bringing in Road Dogg. That's another one.
Yep.
Like, and what are you going to get out of it? Are you going to get an exciting must-see TV product? No.
All they're hoping to really get out of it, I think they're going to use Road Dogg for his Rolodex. I think that's what it all comes down to. They're going to use him for his Rolodex and see which contacts he can get. Because that's what, as a promoter, that's what it all comes down to, is how many phone numbers you can call, especially if you need stars. And Road Dogg, he knows a ton. I'll give him credit. Guy's been in the business for a long time. He knows a lot of stars. And the thing is, too, is he was very friendly with a lot of people backstage in WWE before he got let go. So it's not like he's this fucking antisocial asshole that's hated. A lot of Mark wrestlers love Road Dogg, just saying.
No, they really do. They know him, they respect him, and you probably are going to get some coming over. You probably will get Dakota Kai in TNA. You probably will get you may even get Tegan Nox, her fucking broken down legs. So you're gonna get people coming to TNA for sure if Road Dogg comes. But that does not fix the creative problem. And we pointed out, man, we got to point it out, and we got to keep pointing it out, is that these veteran wrestlers, none of them are good bookers. None of them should be bookers. None of them should be. They've all proven that they all suck. None of them have great ideas. None of them are thinking outside the box, which is why they just should not be in booking. I mean, even look at Conan and what he did in Met. Like, what did he do that was so great?
Bro, I packed soccer arenas of 10,000 people for shitty Mexican wrestling matches.
What in Mexico, luchas, it's a totally different thing than here in the States.
Fucking baseball, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like what baseball is in America. That's what lucha is to Mexico. So it's not the same thing. You could literally have like a chunk of your brain missing, and you could book a lucha show. It is the easiest thing to book.
Without question. Every time we see it, we tried to watch this AAA show that everybody was jacking off about. Yep. Dave Meltzer gave Americano versus Americano 5.25 stars. We tried watching that show, that match, never fucking again.
No.
I am doubling down on what I said, and I'm sure you are too. Lucha fucking sucks. It is the absolute worst form of wrestling out there, and it's way too influential on the modern style.
It really is, but look who's running the show. Undertaker, a veteran pro wrestler. Another one who... Like, the most you're going to get is a good match. Are you going to get a great storyline? Are you going to get great? No, because they don't like. It's one thing to be a great pro wrestler. It's another thing to be a great booker. They're two completely different things.
You put people like that in coach and road agent positions in your company. Right. You don't give them the book, because when you give them the book, you're basically saying, "Hey, I'm fucking uncreative. I can't think of any better ideas. Let me ask this CTE-ridden 60-year-old veteran if he has any good wrestling ideas on how to run my company with my money." Idiots.
But even look like back in the 80s with the territories. Like, all of them were a bunch of good old boy veteran wrestlers that got the book, to quote the veterans. Like, they got the book, they got control over the booking in these local indies, these local territories, rather. And Vince McMahon came along, a young guy, and put them all out of business.
And that's the thing you're saying, is it's been nothing new. Look at even the older Mark promotions that went out of business, whether we're talking about Smoky Mountain Wrestling, former manager, ECW, former manager, Chikara, former wrestler, like you look at the track record. Ring of Honor was like the one exception because it was just a broadcasting company, but even then they sold that shit. But it's like, for the most part, you look at all these American companies and even international companies for that matter, they all love putting Mark veteran bookers at the very top. I guarantee you, one of these days, there is going to be a company that hires Mark Henry and puts him in a creative role.
Oh, God.
I guarantee you it's coming. I'm surprised.
And Bully Ray. Oh, God.
Bully Ray right now is pissing off the IWC because he's a fat douchebag meathead that can't keep his mouth shut.
True.
He said he could beat the shit out of Dean Ambrose in a fight, so that triggered the IWC. So even Joey Janela's saying that he goes and he's a 54-year-old man that goes and picks up 22-year-old girls at a New Jersey bar and fails. Like there's so much shit talking going on about Bully Ray, so he's kind of pissed himself. But I'm waiting for Grandma LaGreca. I'm waiting for Mark Henry. I'm waiting for Tommy Dreamer to get another job. All of these guys will get job offers because there are never enough stupid fucking idiots, marks, with too much money to burn and a bad idea on their head.
And the history shows that when a veteran wrestler runs your creative, they're not going to give you anything amazing. Name one book other than, like, even if you want to say, what about the Hulkamania era? Wasn't Pat Patterson a veteran wrestler when he booked that? Who ran the company?
Vince McMahon.
Right.
That's what we're saying. Vince came in. He came from a trailer park into weightlifting, and then he got into WWE, man. Like a rags to riches story if you ever want to talk about one.
The funny cope story that I love from all these like idiots like Jim Cornette is like, hey, they could have gone national too, but we chose not to. So you chose to go out of business is what you chose.
Well, that's the thing too. Is like, sir, if Ring of Honor still had Jim Cornette at the top, they would have gone out of business way quicker. He would have given them turbo cancer. We saw what he did with Smoky Mountain Wrestling, which was a flash in the pan. I mean, pretty much his biggest draw was New Jack, and even then, he's ashamed to have him as one of his draws. Just saying.
Well, absolutely. But then people are going to bring up, okay, well then what about AEW? So like if Mark veteran pro wrestlers run creative or ruining creative, why is AEW so bad then if it's not run by a veteran pro wrestler? And what you got to realize is that is like a situation where the lunatics run the asylum.
That's what I'm saying. What's going on with AEW? I get why people are doing the WCW comparisons, especially being on TBS and TNT. The other big factoid is that look at who runs that place. Tony, don't get me wrong, he books it. But no. Kenny, the Bucks, MJF, Mercedes Moné. Those are the people who run shit backstage.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they have, I mean, I think that, in fact, I know that Mercedes has creative control. She has her own writer on the creative team for AEW.
No, Tony went above and beyond to please Mercedes. And better believe it, if Bayley ever becomes a free agent, she will be paid millions to come over and be by Mercedes' side. He's waiting for it, and he's salivating for the Pete Dunne release, for the Tyler Baby release, for the Bayley release. Any WWE work rate releases, he's going to snap them up immediately. Look at Ciampa. He'll do that with Gargano in a fucking heartbeat. Guaranteed.
No, he absolutely will. I mean, and that's just the thing is that it's Tony Khan and his toys, but the funny thing is that the toys run the company. Like that's the funny thing is that like ultimately at the end of the day, Tony Khan can, stamp his feet down and try to act like, Mr. Boss Man. But at the end of the day, if MJF, Sasha Banks, Kenny Omega all get a wild hair up their butts about something, about a booking angle, they're going to get their way.
Yeah, it's going to be a situation where Tony's like, I don't like that. You're going to go with Marty. And then he walks out of the room and they're like, this little fucking dork, we're going to do what we want.
Absolutely. And then we also got to talk about even the conspiracy theory of, Tony Khan calling Dave Meltzer for creative ideas. I think that's what's going on. And what is Dave Meltzer? He's a veteran of the business too, in his own way.
Well, they really let the cat out of the bag on that one episode of Wrestling Observer where you can hear in the background, Tony Khan, calling him during a live Wrestling Observer, probably telling him to shut the fuck up about somebody. Just saying.
It wouldn't surprise me. It really would not surprise me. That Tony Khan is a guy who respects Dave Meltzer and is probably picking his brain for creative ideas. It would not surprise me at all. So I think even in that way, a veteran is still ruining that company. And again, look at the March 18th episode of AEW. when Tony Khan was talking to Vince Russo, you were seeing AEW do Crash TV. The ratings were over 700,000. They spiked out of nowhere, and then they went back to Dave's booking, or hit the style that he likes, and the ratings are crashing. Go figure.
Yeah, and that's the great thing too is about these fans is they don't care. As long as they've gone on record as saying, I don't care about buy rates, I don't care about ratings, I support the indies. They don't care about anything, and that's the whole reason why the wrestling industry will die, because not only is that what's going on in the IWC, it's also a reflection of the people who own these companies and work for them.
Right.
They don't care.
No, they don't care, and that's the thing. I mean, and we could even talk about NXT. You know,
Shawn
is
Michaels.
Shawn a better booker than most? Yes, but it's still not good enough. Not even close.
I think a lot of it is Triple H. Once Triple H got in with NXT on CW, you saw a big time change in how it was portrayed on TV. NXT went from being something that was goofy as fuck and mildly watchable and had little bit of star power, a couple people that we wanted to see, to being a barren, desolate wasteland full of Nickelodeon garbage, bad segments.
But my question to you is, like, who's NXT run by?
Officially, it's run by Shawn Michaels, but when you look at the credits,
veteran wrestlers,
you see Triple H's name above the top, but you're absolutely right. Yes, veteran wrestlers play the role in that. Shawn can do better, but yeah, no, he's going to be a fucking mark if he's around Triple H. That's what it comes down to. He's going to try to appease his boss.
What I think is what it is that I think Vince and Bruce, when they were like right around 2021, 22, I think they had certain things that they were looking for from NXT, and Shawn was trying to make them happy. Now Shawn and Triple H can do what they want.
Oh yeah, it's open season for them to be full on Mark Dickhead. So no, you're absolutely right. It's no matter what company that you look at, they're all run by people that were in the business before or had some sort of spot in the business before. Wasn't Roshi Ogawa, wasn't he also part of like some other company before he got Marigold?
I think he was, and I mean, to even tie it back to TNA temporarily,
Stardom,
Scott
I think, yeah.
With Scott D'Amore, veteran pro wrestler,
another one,
ruined that company. MLB,
Yes.
another one.
Yeah, literally, you can't escape it. Even, I hate to say it, even though they're doing good things, Mystery Wrestling with Evil Uno.
Yeah.
You look all across the indies, even beforehand. What was it beforehand? It was PWG, ran by Joey Ryan.
It was.
You could not escape it, man. It was the Chikara run by Mike Quackenbush. It was inescapable. Even CM Punk, let's be real, when he was in Ring of Honor, he politicked himself and a lot of matches at the top. He was already pulling that shit. And he would be a promoter if he could, trust me.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? You would get a lot of the same old shit. Like
Yep.
that's the thing, is that like even the wrestlers like Sami Callihan, yeah, they're doing their Revolver thing, or their thing with like Pro Wrestling Revolver, that wrestling company. It's still nothing like, oh my god, gotta go out of my way to see it, you know?
What it is it's just low budget ECW.
Right.
But here's the thing I at least like about Wrestling Revolver. It knows its role. And it doesn't think it's more than anything that. I don't mind him almost like... What I look at is like a low budget feeder program for the bigger leagues. If he's running something like that and he can actually breed some good young talent and have them come up to these bigger leagues, his company serves a purpose. But that's the main problem too, is not too many of these indie companies are breeding grounds right now for new talent. Because what happens when Triple H tries to destroy the indies with WWID and getting all these companies under his wing like AAA and TNA eventually, what happens? It dilutes the talent pool so much. To when guys like Starboy Chaz Hall is a top dude on the indies. This is one of their top free agents right now. Speedball Mike Bailey was like that 2 years ago before AW signed him.
Even Don Callis when he was in TNA, briefly.
Yeah.
Like, none of them do anything revolutionary or awesome or amazing. Like, none of them are ever responsible for, like, a boom era. They all just do what they know.
All of them. Every single one of them. And that's why it's so hard to trust any of them. Because you're hoping to yourself, oh shit. Especially when people heard that Triple H is stepping in. And this is for people that didn't watch NXT. They're just old school WWE fans. They're like, oh shit, Triple H is stepping in. Awesome. We're going to get Attitude Era 2.0. It's going to be fucking badass. We're going to get another DX. We're going to get tits and ass. We're going to get hardcore segments. We're going to get cussing. It's going to be amazing. And we got the most boring work rate shit ever. And I know a lot of people were just faking the fuck and just going with the hive mind at the time. But it even came down to a point where like you couldn't deny it, and you're like, dude, Triple H is fucking shit up.
And
Even
now
the
they all
most,
see it.
even the most dumb fucks of dumb fucks, the JDs from New York's, the Sala Monsters, the Meatwads, are now finally seeing it.
They finally see it now. They finally see what we have been saying since 2018. They now see what we have been saying for all these years now. That Triple H is not a good booker. He's never been a good booker. All he's ever done to get the ratings up is bring back a star from the past. 2022, when he took over creative team, the first thing he did, the first big star that he brought in was Bray Wyatt to bump things up. And he did. And they were doing a great job with those video packages, the QR codes and all that. As soon as it came to booking Bray Wyatt, they started out with putting him in the ring with the spotlight on him. And they did that week after week after week. And then they had him cutting backstage promos week after week. And it went nowhere until it led to a feud with LA Knight. And then you never saw Bray Wyatt again.
Well, that's like when Matt Hardy was recently saying, oh, they need to hire the writer that worked with Bray Wyatt for TNA. And I'm like, bro, please. You say one cool thing and then you say three retarded things after that. It's like, no, we don't need that. And this is what I'm saying. You think maybe Matt Hardy, he had Broken Universe, 2016. Maybe he can give us gold again. No. All of them fit the same fucking mold. You literally can have no hope with the wrestler. Like, the only ex-wrestler that I ever thought was really good at booking is Dusty Rhodes.
Right.
Was he like one of the greatest of all time? Of course not. But for a wrestler, I think he was pretty dang good. That's the only one I can give credit to.
Well, he was pretty good, but I would never say that it was like anything that like made a wrestling boom.
No, he was good at doing a low scale level character development. He was great for NXT, but he could never be a Vince McMahon. He could never be a Vince Russo, Ed Ferrara of that level. But I think for a wrestler, he's the one exception I will give. Other than that, we've even seen his son Dustin book. It's garbage.
Yep.
It's matchmark garbage. It's indie bullshit. I get it. There's no money in pro wrestling. All these shows are low budget as fuck. Can you at least use some AI? Can you throw in some spiffy banners, a couple like fake fireworks or something? Give us something.
Give us something. I mean, or just let AI do the booking. You know, there's a lot of fans out there that say, no, I don't want AI booking. Honestly, I think AI could do a much better job. It could do a much better job than Triple H.
They've already admitted, Nick Khan has admitted in interviews that they already use AI for booking. So this is WWE trying their hardest with 40 writers, Triple H, rest of creative team, and they have probably Grok or ChatGPT, a decent model that knows what it's doing, and this is what they're getting. This is the pinnacle. This is them firing, like the Triple H just said, on all cylinders. Deplorable, disgusting, embarrassing.
Like, and it just goes to show that no matter if it's TNA, if it's OVW, if it's New Japan Pro Wrestling, if it's WWE, you could name the company. Even like back in the day with WCW, you can name it, like all the territories from the past. The one trend you notice is that the people that end up having the most success in pro wrestling, that end up making the biggest waves, are the people that have the least amount of experience in wrestling. When they get in charge of creative, things actually change. Look at Vince McMahon when he bought WWF from his dad and turned it national, turned it into an international phenomenon. Outclassed every single booker. He clearly did. You could look at WCW with what they did under Eric Bischoff. You could look at with the NWO. You could look at what Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara did with WWF in the Attitude Era. What do they all have in common?
Even TNA as well. I mean, he brought up TNA to 2.0 ratings. That's the last time it will ever see
2 million.
ratings. 2 million people on Spike. He's the last person to ever have that happen for TNA. They will never get numbers like that again. And that's the crazy thing too, is you see all these people, they're not marks. They got wrestling to that level because they weren't marks. No. But every mark, what are they all great at doing? Driving fans away with boring wrestling. Why? Because a wrestling show should have wrestling on it? Run by a wrestler? Is that why?
You need a wrestling person to run a wrestling company. No, you need a really creative person that's thinking outside the box and has really good problem-solving skills. That's all you really need to have a great wrestling and they have to care. Because I think a lot of the problem is these veteran pro wrestlers is that because they have this ego of, I'm Tommy Dreamer, I'm Triple H, I'm Scott D'Amore. Who the hell do you think you are to tell me what wrestling is and what booking I should do? It's the ego.
No, and you're absolutely right. They all have that ego. Triple H is evident with that ego. Even Tony has that type of ego. Just, and he barely has any time in the industry. Like, they all have that ego of, I don't have to listen to these dickhead fans that say my products suck, because there's enough fans online that say it's fucking awesome. So obviously they're wrong. But literally every single booker thinks like that.
But the difference with Tony Khan is that Tony Khan has enough money to where, like, AEW could go out of business tomorrow and he'd still be a billionaire. Like, that's the difference. Is like, if he's not necessarily like where Vince McMahon had to do, like, back in the 90s, where, like, if WWF went under, he went bankrupt. If AEW goes under, Tony Khan is still a billionaire.
Well, and keep in mind, WWE was on the verge of bankruptcy until they added Ed Ferrara and Vince Russo to the creative team. Just saying. They were on the verge of bankruptcy. They saved the company, man.
They did.
And that's the thing, is like, it's going to really take two very creative, I think a little crew. I think like 2 to 3 creative people being brought into any of these major companies outside of pro wrestling. And I would pick them from different fields too. I would have, like you were saying, a prestige writer from AMC, like a guy who wrote Breaking Bad, Walking Dead, Better Call Saul. Yeah, bring on one of those. I think they should also bring a good comedy writer, like a Tony Hinchcliffe. Bring in somebody like him. I think they should also bring in somebody who's good at soap operas. I would bring in a good soap opera writer and bring back male soap opera. I think that's very much missing. The male soap opera formula is what worked. Why draw away from it? Bring in somebody who understands soap operas.
What are those prestige drama writers good at? They're good at what? Building characters and building storylines. That's what they excel at. That's what they're great at.
And like, all three of them really. You got to give credit, I think, to the comedy writers too for making comedy characters.
Absolutely.
And you also got to, I think, give credit too to even people that can go ahead and, craft characters in other ways. It's there's always different ways to craft characters, even soap opera. I think that soap opera has a style to it. I don't want to watch a soap opera, but I will watch a wrestling soap opera if it's done right.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, if it's done right and it's entertaining, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's what I just think they need to go back to what works. That's all I'm saying, and they won't. What have we heard for the longest time? We've heard that wrestling has evolved. What, to being even more one-dimensional than it was in the 90s? That's devolving, not evolving, retard.
Well, it's just so much cope from these fans who want to fit in. Like, we don't care about fitting in. We're just going to be honest with you. We're going to tell you just what draws. Because, like, at the end of the day, man, we're fans at the end of the day. And we just want to be entertained. And we want to see wrestling grow and thrive. Unfortunately, these veteran pro wrestlers, they've got these egos, and you can't tell them any differently. If you think their storyline's a bad idea, rather than say, you know what, I think you got a good idea, the vast majority of them will get butthurt and they'll get offended. They'll take it as a personal insult.
Well, but what I don't get is, even with bookers like Vince Russo and Eric Bischoff back in the day, what they did is they had stars on their show, they had promos, they had storylines. But the one thing that they also did is they also catered to the matchmark dorks out there. Right. WWE had Kind Tai. They had a cruiserweight division. Same thing with WCW. I believe WWF was called the light heavyweight division. They had like Great Sasuke and Taka Michinoku and Dick Togo and all these other fucking jobbers like S.A. Rios. And then over in WCW, they had the cruiserweights. So they had their matchmark garbage. They had William Regal. They had whatever fucking indie-rific style you liked. They had that shit. Plus, they had characters. Plus, they had stories. Plus, they had superstars. Why can't we have the variety show that we had back in the 90s?
Because the veteran pro wrestlers don't want to put effort in. They don't want to put the effort in. They don't have, and the thing, like with Tommy Dreamer, he came out recently and said, yes, I did book Mike Santana to lose in his hometown at Slammiversary, but look what happened to the ticket sale. Buddy, you would have sold out Bound for Glory regardless. Who are we kidding? Like, this is number one. And number two, if you were creative, if you actually cared to put the effort in, you could have come up with something. You could have even used AI. You could have used Gemini, ChatGPT, Grok to help you with that. But no, his Tommy Dreamer's veteran wrestler booker mind just couldn't deal with the indignity of having to rely on AI or something to help him.
That's what really frustrates me, is they think they're the hardest fucking workers.
I know.
When there's literally like kids out there just playing on like mobile phones, playing M. Dickey, or his Wrestling Revolution game, playing, TEW, and booking these easy fucking shows with super matches. They're doing the same shit that you are, yet you think you're fucking better than them. At least they'll actually try to put storylines in their shit. I've seen people with 2K26 that actually put storylines in their shit. How come fans can do it, yet these mark egotistical veteran bookers can't? Why is it so hard for them? Why do they deserve a job?
And that's the problem right there, is that they get the jobs because of their resume in the wrestling industry. But really, when you look at it, like, you never get anything great out of it. You never do.
Nope. They can't even. That's the thing that bugs me. When fans are trying harder than them, give them the money. Don't give it to these veteran mark bookers, because you're not going to get anything more than matches. It's been proven. All you will get is matches, and anybody can fucking do matches. Matches are the fucking easiest thing in the fucking world to do, and these brain-dead fans make it the priority. Not promos. Nah, those are corny. That's what they say. Not segments. That's filler. But now more matches, because after all, it's a wrestling show, and what do we have to see on wrestling shows? Wrestling, ran by wrestlers too, because it's wrestling.
You know what's funny is even the smarter match marks out there, they admit to you, it's like, yeah, you do need to have promos and storylines. Yeah, you do need to have some variety. But those are the smarter ones. The dumber ones are like, wrestling should be nothing but wrestling on the wrestling show. That one quote from Jim Cornette, they take it and they run with it. I hate it.
Which just frustrates me, the type of power that Jim Cornette has. Because this
is
every top podcaster out there. It doesn't matter if they're a veteran mark booker or a top member of the IWC, but they all have the same hive mind opinion. And that's another thing about veteran mark bookers. You will never see a creative opinion from them. Because what do? They look at what's popular and trending on the IWC and they parrot their opinions. You're parroting dumbass marks.
Right.
You don't even have your own opinion. Why should you run a company?
Exactly. And that's the thing. Like, that's why hiring a wrestling person is one of the dumbest things you could do if you own a wrestling company. No, if you need to hire somebody who's going to be passionate, who's going to care, who's going to be creative, who's going to be a good problem solver, who's going to be willing to use every tool at their disposal to make the best product. And that includes AI.
Absolutely. It should be a situation where there should be no duping at all. It should be, hey, wrestling is fucking dead right now. It's got turbo cancer. Right now it's on the life support. It's about to fucking die. We need to do something dramatic right now, or we will witness. All of us will witness wrestling die before your very eyes. A lot of people are already saying it's dead. At least we give it the benefit of the doubt. It's on its deathbed for sure.
Right. So. Yeah, I mean it's not dead yet, but it's getting there.
It's getting there, guys. So NC,
JC and.
Peace out.